This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 8th day of October in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Thank you for joining us. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The opposition APNU-AFC wants the government to put a regularization plan in place for squatters at Success on the east coast of the Marara and those in other parts of the country. Over the past few weeks, there has been a standoff between squatters at Success and Chatamargo on the east coast of the Marara and the Guyana Sugar Corporation. The state-owned Gaisuco wants the squatters off the land since it has plans to restart cane cultivation in the same areas. But the squatters have been claiming that they have nowhere else to go. APNU-AFC Member of Parliament Annette Ferguson today said the government needs to show some compassion for the squatters.
Instead of consultation, the PPP is focused on confrontation. The PPP promised 50,000 house lots to the people, and so far have delivered 0 house lots and have gone in reverse, throwing off, shooting off, flooding out, and removing Guyanese citizens from house lots in their own country, which they are constitutionally entitled to. The Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell, is powerless. And I repeat, is powerless. He is clueless and without any solutions. The APNU-AFC demands that the PPP acts with compassion, meaningfully consults with the citizens in desperate need of housing, and takes urgent action to regularize. And I repeat, and take urgent actions to regularize the squatters at Success.
Ferguson was the last minister responsible for housing under the former APNU-AFC government. She said when the APNU-AFC got to office in 2015, there were over 30,000 active applications for house lots. That number was reduced by 7,000 by the time the coalition left office, she said.
If I'm to, probably disaggregate the number that I've just provided, 7,089 were actually house lots allocated between June to December 2015 and as of May 2020. With respect to the housing units allocated, we were able to distribute in excess of 351, which would give us a total allocation of 7,479 between the housing units and that of the actual house lots.
Meanwhile, the regional chairman for Region 4, Daniel Searam, also believes that there is a need for regularization of squatter settlements. He said when one meets with the squatters, there is a much clearer understanding of the reality of their plight.
Immediately when I went on the ground, and then you hear all the conflicting stories that are brought forward by the residents, and then you hear stories also from government officials. So someone was telling these people that was okay to occupy these lands, and I think the humane thing to do would be to regularize this area. This would be my personal opinion on the matter, and I see that my party has shared the same stance that I take.
The regional chairman said the situation at Success is unique, and therefore some thought should be given to addressing their situation. The Central Housing and Planning Authority has made moves to have the squatters register and make applications for house lots. However, the housing officials have also indicated that there is no clear timeline as to how soon those lands will be made available for them. More news coming up in a moment. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
photography, advertising, you name it, we do it. At Mass Global Media, we offer high-quality, versatile media and marketing solutions that will help your business reach its goals. Contact us now if you want a website developed, graphic design, social media marketing, animation, and much more by emailing info@massglobalmedia.com or call 658-5636. Mass Global Media. Vision, execution, results.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. President Irfan Ali is confident that his government will deliver on its campaign promise to make 50,000 house lots available in 5 years. During an interview with News Source, the president touched on the headline-grabbing squatting situation at Success on the east coast of Demerara. He said he would like to see those persons who have decided to squat on Guy Suko's land to do the right thing and apply for house lots.
We asked them to get registered. Who did not apply, we asked them to apply. And all of them will be facilitated in the government housing program. They will all be facilitated in the government housing program. But we have to get accustomed to doing things the right way too.
The president said officials of the government have already been engaging the squatters. He noted that Guy Suko is already facing millions of dollars in losses because of the damage done to its cane fields.
Guy Suko lost millions upon millions of dollars with what took place there. The seedling canes, new variety experiment.
He also said he would prefer to see the residents who are squatting on the Guy Suko lands engage the government on legal ownership of their own house lot.
You have a government, Gordon, and a president who is willing to listen to you. A president who is willing to work, and a government who is willing to, the government is willing to work with every Guyanese in realizing a better life for all Guyanese, in realizing all the promises we made in the manifesto. I am calling on Guyanese. I am calling on Guyanese of all walks of life to embrace the future with confidence that this government will deliver to you.
Mr. Ali served as the minister responsible for housing under the previous PP Civic administration. He said during that time the government was able to bring squatting to an end in many communities. The president said that moving forward, his government intends to develop new housing communities and bring in more investors who will be willing to work with government on solving Guyana's housing problem. Let's tell you now that the Office of the President this afternoon announced the appointment of 8 new permanent secretaries. The Ministry of Health now has Mr. Malcolm Watkins as its permanent secretary, while Sharon Hicks will serve as the new permanent secretary at the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs. Over at the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Thomas, who was a candidate for the PPP at the last elections, will be its new permanent secretary. The Ministry of Works has a new permanent secretary in Vladim Prasad, while Chanel Hussein Otar will now be serving as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Human Services. The Ministry of Housing and Water will now have Andre Ali as its permanent secretary. He previously worked at the Central Housing and Planning Authority and Anson McCall Trading. PPP Councillor for Georgetown, Bishram Kupen, has been appointed to serve as a permanent secretary for the Ministry of Labour, while Sharon Rupchan Edwards will serve in the Ministry of Tourism as its new permanent secretary. The appointment of the new permanent secretaries mean that 8 permanent secretaries have been replaced. It is unclear whether all 8 of the previous permanent secretaries have been relieved of their duties or reassigned to other roles. Guyana's Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has arrested 4 Guyanese nationals and 2 Barbadians after they were held at the city wharf aboard a Barbados-registered vessel with more than 150 pounds of marijuana. The vessel arrived in Guyana from Barbados a few weeks ago and was docked at the GNIC wharf. On Tuesday, condo agents boarded the vessel for a second time to carry out a detailed search after suspecting that the vessel was being used for drug trafficking. The search unearthed 71 bulk parcels of compressed marijuana, which weighed 152 pounds. Immediately, the 6 men were arrested and were told of the charges that will be filed against them for drug trafficking. Local law enforcement believe the marijuana was loaded on the vessel in Guyana for smuggling to Barbados. The 6 are likely to appear in court tomorrow. 4 persons who were detained unlawfully by the police back in 2018 over allegations of a string of robberies have been awarded $10.5 million in damages by the High Court. In a ruling which was handed down today, Justice Prius Unirine Bihari made the award to Storm Fawcett and his 2 sons along with a friend. Attorneys for the men had filed a lawsuit against the state and the police following their unlawful arrest. The police had accused the 4 of carrying out a series of robberies on customers who left a commercial bank on Robb Street. The 4 were arrested after the police claimed that they matched the description of the suspects. A search was carried out at the homes of the men, but nothing linking them to any crime was ever found. Still, they were kept in custody and shuffled between various police stations. When they questioned investigators about being detained without any charge or information being put to them, they were told that they should allow the investigation to continue. The attorney who represented the men, Anastasia Stanford, contended that the rights of the men were breached by the wrongful arrest, and they were deprived of their liberty while being treated in a degrading manner. The judge agreed and granted judgment in the names of the men who were wrongfully arrested. The state and the police now have to pay the judgment in addition to the court costs by the 18th of November. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Been through it all.
But as a people, we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, the government in St. Kitts and Nevis has announced that it will fully reopen its borders to international commercial flights and travelers from the end of this month. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris told a news conference that the opening of the borders of the Twin Island Federation will not only facilitate the return of tourists, but will also allow their own nationals and residents abroad the opportunity to return home to their families, their jobs, and their communities on a more regular and predictable way. St. Kitts Nevis, like many Caribbean countries, had closed its borders as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The Prime Minister described that decision to reopen the borders as a significant development for the Federation. He said his coalition government was keen to learn from the experiences of other countries, taking the advice of the World Health Organization, the Pan American Health Organization, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency, along with local experts. St. Kitts Nevis has recorded 19 cases of coronavirus, which was first detected in China last December, and blamed for more than 1 million deaths across the world. The government of the Bahamas has announced a series of new measures aimed at curbing the spread of coronavirus in 2 islands, including a 24-hour weekend curfew, a doubling of the fines for breaching the protocols, even as it maintained that the international airport will reopen from the 1st of November. The Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Dr. Hubert Minnis, in a statement to Parliament, said that despite efforts in the past to curb the spread of the coronavirus, which has killed 102 persons in the islands, New Providence and Abaco continue to record high levels of positive COVID-19 cases. The Prime Minister said that the new measures, which come into effect this Friday, will include a full 24-hour weekend curfew for New Providence and Abaco. The weekend curfews will begin Friday evenings at 7 o'clock and end Monday morning at 5. And finally tonight, international news. U.S. President Donald Trump has refused to take part in a virtual TV debate with his Democratic rival Joe Biden. The commission organizing the debate in Miami on the 15th of October had earlier said it would have to take place remotely. It made the decision after Mr. Trump was treated for COVID-19. The president said he would not waste his time on a move designed to protect his rival. Mr. Biden's campaign said Mr. Trump was trying to evade accountability on his failures on COVID-19 and the economy. Both teams later appeared to agree on the 22nd of October as a rescheduled date, although the form of the new debate remains unclear. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.